Hey everyone, I just want to share a technique. It's going to be pretty quick, but this is going to be using the note echo device inside of Bitwig. And if you've listened to a song called Horns of Jericho, it's a collaboration between Deadmau5 and Dronehands. I wasn't actually aiming for that sound with this technique, but there's a lead sound. I think it's a synthesizer, a modular synth, using Eurorack or something like that. But it sort of has this random strumming effect. And I realized after I came up with this sound that it's very similar to the lead sound that you hear in that song. So let's listen to it. So I think that's enough of that sound to give you an idea of what I'm going for and sort of what it sounds like for the random strumming effect that I'm trying to describe here. And so how I'm achieving that is I first have the note input on the note echo device. Well, before that, I've got the note echo inserted before a virtual instrument. So you could use this technique, for anything that you want, from a virtual instrument to a sampled sound, as long as it receives MIDI information before the device, like I'm doing here. I've got my MIDI that's fed into this track, and it's going through this note echo. And I'm muting the initial input, and that's because I didn't want too many notes striking initially, so I just wanted to mute the input, but I've got a very short delay amount. So you hear the note pretty close to when it's originally supposed to strike. As I've got the MIDI set up, it's just going to be slightly delayed. And I sort of just wanted that off time feel. And so that's why I'm muting the initial note input. And then you can see I've got a random modulator that's just going to be triggered based off of note input. And it's modulating a few things here. So over here, it's going to be modulating the offset. So this is going to add to the random feel of the offset of the notes that are going into the device. I've also got the repetition modulated, and instead of modulating the amount of repetitions, I'm just telling it to repeat for forever. So whenever this gets triggered, it's going to trigger extremely fast because the trigger time is based off of, the delay time that's designated here. So if we had this set to, eighth notes or something like that, it would be triggering on the eighth note cycle. But instead, because this is set to a very short amount of delay time, it's going to trigger very quickly, as you heard in the example. And then some other parameters that I have set up. I think that's all I have set for the modulation. So that's all that's randomized. So the key here is just randomizing the repetitions and setting up the delay time to be very short. So you've got that strumming sound. And then what I found helpful as well is setting the time and the random to 100% for both. And so let's listen to what it sounds like without these set to 100%, just give you an idea of what they're doing. So it just sounds like a disaster without the time splitting up the space between the notes, and then the randomization giving it obviously a random feel. So the time isn't going to be set at a specific time. It's just going to be randomized, just like we've got the random modulator set up for these other parameters. And then depending on the material that you're working with, you can adjust the gate, you can adjust the velocities. For this particular sound, I just found that having the gate set at 100% and just really opening up the no information that's coming through worked best. And then I had a lower velocity, and then I just had the velocity here set to 0%. So yeah, that's it for the technique. Let me know if you found this helpful, and I can do similar videos like this. My plan to be able to put out more content on a regular basis is just as I'm working on ideas, on sketches, and I see techniques that may be helpful to share with the community. I'm just going to record videos and yeah, put them up on this channel. So if you find them helpful, let me know. And thanks for watching.